Week 7, Building a Learning Unit. So we're about ready to start putting all of the pieces together. You have developed an assignment for a multimodal composition. You have shared it with a peer who completed the assignment and gave you feedback from a student point of view. You've revised that assignment. You've built a 4-week learning plan, gotten some feedback on that, and revised it. So now we're going to take the learning plan and your assignment and build an actual live online learning unit. So this is our chance to kind of pull everything together. I am composing these videos and designing this project assuming that none of you have done this before, assuming that you are brand new to creating an actual online learning unit. So I'm going to start from the beginning and try to go slowly and help take you step by step through the process of assembling this. Basically, what you are doing is building 1/4 of a 1-semester course. We'll be using Google Sites to do that. But let's remember the overarching purpose of what we're doing. Now, our main project here, which concludes this course, the Multimedia Online Writing course, is a 4-week online unit focused on teaching students how to complete a multimodal assignment. So let's think about it. In a way, we are taking students on a 4-week journey. The journey begins with the assignment. You present to them, you give them an overview, and you say, at the end of this unit, you will complete an ethnographic essay. You will complete a photo essay. You will complete a conference program design. Whatever your final assignment is, that's the starting point, is to introduce that to them and give them the overview of where they will be going. The end point of the unit is, of course, at the end of week 4, when they deliver their completed assignment and submit it to you for a grade. In between is this arc. It's the learning arc. It's crossing the gap, right, from where we are to where we want to be with our learners. And so the content in the middle is instructional media and the activities and assessments that you have mapped out in your learning plan. But it's important to keep the context in mind. Think of it as you're telling a story for the next 4 weeks. And the story is that the students come into this project, get comfortable with what the project actually is, explore the different parts of the project and develop those pieces over a 4-week step-by-step process, and then put everything together and deliver that final project at the end. So you're taking them on a 4-week learning journey. All of the pieces that you will put together are part of that journey for them. And so it's important to think about the big picture and then how all the details fit. And that's where I think the learning plan document that we have been working on for the last 2 weeks is so important. You have your outline. That learning plan document essentially gives you the structure for this journey. And now you need to basically design and build that structure using Google Sites. Now, when you're teaching online at a college or university or in another setting, you are probably using a learning management system such as Blackboard, which we use for our course, of course, or Canvas, which is the other main competitor, possibly Moodle or one of the other open source platforms. You probably won't be using Google Sites, but for our purposes, we're looking at the principles and practices, not the software. If you go teach at a school that uses Blackboard, you will probably have some training and some IT support to help you learn to use Blackboard. So in this course, we are focused on the general principles of how do you design effective multimedia learning experiences for students. That's why we're using Google Sites. We have access to it at UALR, and it's free and it's easy to use. So the principles that you will be using in this project are the same regardless of which platform you will ultimately be teaching in down the road in the rest of your career. And in fact, it's better to learn the basic principles in a simple platform than to get lost in the weeds of Blackboard. Trust me when I tell you that Google Sites is far more easy to use and far more user-friendly than Blackboard will ever dream of being. So you will get a chance in the next 10 days or so, the next two weeks, to practice using a piece of software that's actually simple and relatively easy to use as opposed to something more complex like Blackboard or Canvas. But that's what we're doing now. This is the capstone project for this course. It's where we pull everything together and actually build a live website. So let's look at how to get started with Google Sites. I'm going to start from the course homepage in Blackboard. As you can see on the screen here, Multimedia Online Writing Instruction. I'm on our course homepage. So just to refresh how to get to your Google Drive, you want to get to your main Google Drive folder. So there are many ways to do that, but the simplest one from here is to click on the My Blackboard tab or menu option at the very top center of the page. And then over on the left, it brings up quick links, and you want to select Google Drive. That opens your main Google Drive storage folder. You can see I have a whole ton of stuff. Make sure in the upper left-hand corner you see the UA Little Rock Drive logo to ensure that you are logged into the right account. As you have probably discovered, if you are not logged into your UA Little Rock Drive account and are instead logged into some other account, it may generate some error messages and said you don't have access to the file. So be double, triple sure you're in the right instance of Google Drive. You're logged in as a UA Little Rock student for the purposes of this project to access the files and store them in the right place. So I'm going to, what we're going to do, I'm going to open my folder for the course. You can start from anywhere, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a new Google Sites webpage. So I'm going to go to the blue New button in the upper left-hand corner, click that, and it gives me a menu of options, none of which are the right one. So I'm going to go to More. I want Google Sites. Right there, the logo that looks like a blue box with like a tiny little web page. Google Sites is what we want to select. And it takes me to a page that looks like, loading, this. Untitled site. So what I have in front of me is a blank canvas for an actual web page. So this is exactly what we want. Over on the right-hand side is your control panel with a number of options. You have an insert menu, which allows you to insert text box, image, an embed URL for videos. We'll look at that in more detail later. Or to upload a file. You have components like a divider. You can insert files from Google Drive. You can embed YouTube videos, calendar, map, Google Docs, Google Slides, or any of the other Google Suites options. So you can insert all different kinds of content to your web page. We will mostly be working with the four at the top: text box, images, embed, and upload files. Then in the middle, this is where we're going to start, is with the pages, because you can add pages. Right now, our website has a grand total of one page. It's our home page, and it's called Your Page Title. So we'll change that in a minute. This is where you add pages to your site. And then to the far right is themes, and it has a number of prefab themes. You can scroll through these. There's one called Aristotle. There's one called Diplomat. There's one called Vision. I kind of like that one because it's visual, so I'll use that. I'll change the color to a nice neutral gray. So we've selected that. You can also choose a custom color if you want. Level and impression. So you can choose the theme that best suits your mood and your personal style for the course that you want to create. Don't spend too much time playing with themes. It gets kind of a rabbit hole. So you select your theme and then go back to the pages. Now what we want to do, think of it this way. We are creating a 4-week course webpage. So we're actually going to need 5 pages. We're going to have a home page, which is, we'll just call this My Course. You can call it whatever you like, but the home page is basically where you say, welcome to my class. This is the material that was on page 1 at the top of your site plan. So this is basically the welcome to the course. This is first year composition, any of the basic overview material that you want students to see the first time they come in. Enter site name. I'll just call it Michael's course for our purposes, and hit return, and now it's renamed it. Up in the far left corner, you can see my webpage is now called Michael's Course. Again, you can call that whatever you want. I suggest you put your name in there, give it a fictional title. So that's page 1. Now we want to add 4 more pages for each of our weeks. So you can see down at the far bottom of this right-hand toolkit is a little add page icon. So I want to click that, and page name. So I'm going to call them week 1. Done. You can see it is now working, and it has added a page. And then I'm going to add another page, week 2. Done. Week 3. Done. And week 4. Now notice what Google Sites has done for us. It's created a menu at the top. So we have our home page where it says My Course. We have week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So I can access those by toggling across this menu. I can also access them over here. So let's say I want to go to my home page and I want to add some text. So I'm going to shift from the Pages menu over here to the Insert menu, grab a text box, and it inserted a blank box with a blue rule around it. So I can say, welcome to my course. This course is excellent. So this is where you will copy and paste some of the content from your plan or write new content from scratch as you see fit. You can select some different sizes, title, heading, and subheading. That's how big it looks if it's a title. That's a heading. So you can have a welcome title, and then you can add another text box where you could have information about the course and so forth. So what I suggest doing is this. First, create your basic architecture like I just did. That will take no more than 5 minutes. So you'll have a home page and an individual page for each week. Week 1, 2, 3, and 4 corresponding neatly to the Google Docs plan that you have developed. You can see that there's a method to our madness here. And what then I suggest you do is start putting placeholder text. So if you want to say, I'm going to add another text box here to say, here's where I introduce the main assignment. And what we're doing is basically creating our outline. So now I'm going to go to week 1 and say, okay, I'm going to add a text box. Week 1. Sorry. Getting started. You're probably going to convert that to a title. And then we will add some more text. Introduction and weekly learning goals. Instructional text. Let's say you're doing a rhetorical analysis. Instructional text, define rhetorical analysis. It's basically just a matter of putting placeholders in there for yourself and getting a sense of how you want to structure the site. So I would go through, before you start writing the actual live content, and just take the material from your learning plan and map it into your website so that you then have a placeholder text. And then you can, at that point, go back in and focus on each piece of text. So again, step 1 is create a new file in Google Sites, give it a name, and then create your pages. And then go into each page and use the text box tool to create placeholder text, or just put a note. You might say, here is where my first video goes. And you're basically just mapping out the site architecture. And I suggest mapping the site architecture first and then writing the content second. So that's the way I'll set up these videos. I'll do a second video to show you how to actually build a complete weekly unit that includes some multimedia. But for now, I think the first step and the most efficient way to proceed is to build the main pages for your site, get everything set up, play around with your color scheme and themes, and make sure you like it. And then once you have all of that basic architecture or placeholder text built out, then you're ready to save the file and publish it, which you do using the blue button in the upper near right corner, which simply says publish. And so what happens when you click that is it saves the file and also makes it available to other viewers, such as me and your classmates. So you push the tap that button, publish your site. I'll just call it, it offers you a chance to update. Oh, it says you can only use lowercase numbers. Michael's Media Demo Course. And you can see it's created a URL for me, https://sites.google.com/ualr.edu/Michael's Media Demo Course. So that's the URL. Who can visit my site? leave it set to anyone at UALR. You don't want to publish it live on the web yet. You might later when you're done. But for now, just leave it set to limit only people who are on the UALR network. So I've named my site, which has given me the URL, and I click publish again here. It works for a moment, and boom. And now at the bottom it says your site has been published successfully, and there's a little blue view button. Now notice, now we have, this is, I'm viewing this in Google Sites. So this is the back, what I would call the back end of my site where I can create the site. In this tab, I'm viewing it as a user would see it. So I usually, when I'm building a course website, I leave both tabs open. I look at it from a viewer's point of view. If I catch a mistake, I go back in here and fix it. Now to share this, you want to use this URL right here, not this one. If you share this, it won't work. So you want to share the published site. In other words, you can now copy this URL and share it in an email to somebody else. And if I paste this in and click on it, there it is again. It's my same site. So now I have my site open in 2 browser tabs. So you want to be sure you're sharing the published site, not your work in progress site, if that makes sense. So again, to do that, you just use the blue publish button and give your site a name. And then you have a link or URL that you can share that is the same one that we saw before. So, once you have built your shell or your outline, use the publish button to save the site in its final form. And then you can share that final form URL with me and with the class.